What's cracking, Jack? It's Tuesday, January 13th, and you are in the jungle. 7 games on tap in the association. I've got them all for you right here, right now. Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the show. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to the jungle. We're going to break down all 7 games in the NBA. And as always, I'll give you what I think is the best side or total and a player prop for each game. Now, I don't bet every single game. If you want to bet what I'm betting, if you want my favorite plays, you can do that by becoming a member at silverbackjungle.com or texting free trial to the number on your screen. There's also a link in the comment section. If you're looking for just my favorite, my single one best bet of the day, you can purchase my $5 favorite. And for just $5 and no further commitment, you get my single best NBA play of the day text to your phone. Yesterday's play was Sam Merrill of the Cavaliers over 12.5 points. Congratulations to all who cashed. So we were 4-1 overall yesterday in the jungle with members plays. We hit, as I said, in Sam Merrill points. We hit Peyton Pritchard over points plus assists. In the NFL, we hit in the Texans -3, and we hit on Woody Marks over rushing attempts. Our only miss yesterday was in the NBA. Ryan Kalkbrenner over his 5.5 rebounds missed. So today's journey begins in Miami. Phoenix plus 1.5. They're taking on the Heat. The over-under is 230.5. Phoenix is the hottest team right now in the NBA. They've won 8 of their last 10, and they've worked their way ahead of the Rockets in the Western Conference up to 6th place. This is Miami's first home game after a 3-game road trip in which they lost every single game straight up. But Miami's a good home team. 3-6 at home this season, 58% against the spread. Phoenix 10-10 on the road, but 65% when on the road against the spread this season. I have to go with the Suns here, plus 1.5. They're the hottest team in the league right now. They're better against the spread on the road than Miami is at home. And with the exception of Jalen Green, who's been out all season anyways, they're fully healthy. Suns plus 1.5 is the play, and consider Bam Adebayo of Miami under 27.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's under this number in 8 of his last 10 games with a median of just 24 per game. And Phoenix is one of the best defensive teams in the NBA, allowing just 111.8 points per game. Next game up, we're looking at Chicago plus 12.5. At the Houston Rockets, the over-under, 224.5. Zach Collins out for Chicago. Of course, Josh Giddey's still out. And Kobe White is sitting out this game. It's the front end of a back-to-back. Houston comes in fairly healthy. Tari Eason, the only player really listed is out for them. So we have a depleted Bulls team and a Rockets team that has not been strong as recently, but this is just their second home game since January 1st. They had a brutal road trip in which they lost 5 straight road games. They did sneak a home game in the middle there, January 5th, where they beat Phoenix and Houston. But they're a way better team at home than they are on the road. The Rockets just 11-12 straight up on the road, 13-2 at home this season, and 56% against the spread. And half of their home wins have been by this margin of 12.5 points or more. I would lay the big number with Houston, and I consider Kevin Durant of the Rockets over 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's over this line in 15 of his last 20 games with a median of 40, and in 4 of his last 5 home games, holding steady with that 40 median. Denver minus 2.5 at New Orleans. The over-under is 233.5. Jamal Murray questionable for Denver, still dealing with that ankle sprain, and he's got an illness too. Aaron Gordon listed as probable, you'll see, but I think that's just precautionary because he's played 3 consecutive games since returning from an injury. He has nothing new attached to his name, so my guess is he'll play, especially being that the Nuggets were off yesterday, and if he does play, he'll be back in the starting lineup. His last game was the first time he returned back to the starting lineup and had a great game. I like the Nuggets here, man, minus the 2.5. The Pelicans have not beaten a team not named the Washington Wizards since December 22nd. Let me say that again. The Pelicans have not beaten a team not named the Washington Wizards since December 22nd. God bless them. So, despite life without the Joker, Denver has won 3 of their last 4 games as an underdog, with wins at Philadelphia, at Boston, and against Milwaukee. I think they can get the job done here against a short number against the Pelicans. And I like Peyton Watson over 19.5 points. He's over this in 4 of his last 5 games. In that time, he's playing 38 minutes, shooting 15 times a game with 7 free throw attempts. Hey guys, when you sports bet, okay, you should seriously have as many books as your state allows. If you're not shopping for the best price, you're leaving money on the table. Now, mybookie.ag sponsors my show, but why it's good for you is because they have a deal for Jungle members. Not only are they legal in all 50 states to one of the biggest offshore sites that there is for sports betting, but they have a deal for Jungle viewers. Open up a new account today at mybookie.ag. Make sure you use promo code SILVERBACK. And if your first bet misses, they refund it up to $500. Don't use them for every bet. Just give them an opportunity for your business when you're price shopping. Always go with the lowest price. So big game here. San Antonio, we're going to dig into this one pretty good. San Antonio plus 7.5 at OKC. Here we go. Game 4 of the season. 227.5 is your total. Big storyline here as we know it is San Antonio 3-0 against the Thunder this season. How dare they? With 3 underdog wins as an 11-point underdog, a 6.5-point underdog, and a 9.5-point underdog. Both teams fairly healthy. Devin Vassell, the only player listed on the injury report for San Antonio, and Isaiah Hartenstein, the only player really that matters listed for OKC. Let's dig into the box scores of the first 3 games because with a rivalry like this, what they're doing against other teams ain't going to matter. You're going to get a different kind of effort in these games from both these teams, so you look at anything that could be seen as an outlier with the previous 3 game results. In that first game, in which San Antonio won by 2, the Thunder had a 16-point lead at one point. And they went ice cold from 3 after that. Ended up shooting just 24% in that game. Devin Vassell had a fourth quarter comeback, and San Antonio won in the end. Let's look at the second game. San Antonio won by 20. Now, that game was in San Antonio. What really sticks out to me in that game, and you know this, you watch basketball, that the home team tends to get the foul calls. What really stands out is, and this is one of the reasons that Shea's point production has been down, they're not calling as many shooting fouls, if you've noticed that, the last couple months in the NBA. But in that game, in San Antonio had 24 free throw attempts in that game to the Thunder 7. 24-7 free throw differential. OKC's not used to that. In the third game they played this season, San Antonio won by 15, and Oklahoma City shot just 39% from the field, whereas the Spurs shot 54%. But that game was in OKC, however, and the Thunder ended up with 25 free throws. They just didn't hit their normal free throw attempts. So what do we do with all this information? Does San Antonio have the Thunder's number, or does the Thunder's performance return to center today? Well, I'm in the business of probability, not guessing. And it's more probable that things return to center for Oklahoma City. It seems a little bit crazy to go against the grain, I know, and lay 7.5 points with a team that's 0-3 straight up against the Spurs. But the Spurs have won 2 of those 3 games by more than this margin. It's not inconceivable that it happens with these 2 teams. And this is a focus spot for the Thunder. I think OKC flips the script tonight. Thunder minus 7.5 is the play. And I like Shea over 31.5 points. I think he gets the foul calls at home, and he gets to the line often tonight. Minnesota plus 3.5 at Milwaukee. Over under 227.5. Anthony Edwards sitting out for Minnesota. Rudy Gobert is out with a suspension. He misbehaved, and he's been dealt with accordingly. He closed out Victor Wembanyama on a shot, and you don't do that to the NBA's Golden Goose. You know, I like the Wolves here, plus the 3.5, even without Ant-Man and Rudy Gobert. I think they're the better team. I think they're the deeper team. I don't trust Milwaukee. They're too unpredictable. So I would like the Wolves plus the 3.5, and I like Naz Reid over 18.5 points. He's going to do a ton of the heavy lifting tonight with Gobert and Minnesota out for Gobert and Edwards out for Minnesota. Atlanta minus 3.5 in Los Angeles, taking on the Lake Show, over under 231.5. Don't trust the Lakers. They're in fade mode. I laid the points with the Hawks. The Lakers have been overvalued by the books recently. They're 3-7 against the number in their last 10. The Hawks have been undervalued by the books recently. Atlanta is 7-3 against the number. in their last 10 games and 12-6 against the number in their last 18 road games. Hawks minus 3.5 is the play, and I like Okongwu, the Hawks center, over 7.5 rebounds. He's over this in 7 of his last 10 games. In those 10, the only 2 he wasn't over, he got hurt in one and had a minutes restriction coming back on the other. He has a median of 8.5 rebounds in his last 10 and 15 rebound chances a game. In the last game on the docket, Portland plus 10.5 at Golden State. The over-under is 225.5. Denny Avia and Jeremy Grant out for the Blazers. But 10.5 is still a lot of points for Golden State to lay. They've covered this number in just 24% of games this season. Portland has covered their end of plus 10.5 in 80% of games. I would take the bucket load of points with Portland, and with Avia out, and Drew Holiday on a minutes restriction, I would look at Caleb Love's over props for the Blazers. Have a great day, Jungle Nation. I want to know your thoughts in the comment section on one game today. Let me know what you like in the Thunder-Spurs game. Include player props, include over-under, side, anything you want. I want to see where the jungle is leaning. Have a great day, my friends. I'll see you next time with a little more money in your pocket.